Did you have a good night? Hi, bud. Oh. So, then you could sit there even. Yeah, I'm good right now. I'm going to move around probably. Yeah, I think it would be a good idea to move around. Well, I know you weren't eating. Oh, yes, you were just eating. Yes. Oh, I forgot that. Yes. You were just eating. I think we'll just go ahead and close it. Yep. You want me to latch it? Yeah, so he doesn't push it open. Yes, I do. Yeah. Oh, if you insist. If you insist. So what I'm doing is going to where he showed the most blinks, the area in this pole which showed the most blinks last time. And it's air gap pressure, okay, which means it's just barely on the hairs. And I'm just trying to soften myself, my shoulders and wrists and elbows, so that I can get under his brace. And then I'm just trying to get in touch with this nervous system under the brace. And it's sort of like, our knee-jerk response when we get in touch with their nervous system, and they don't feel a need to resist, then it's just automatic, like our knee-jerk response, and it releases tension in the connective tissue and the muscles.
Now the blinks are an indication of...
Blinks are indication in response to what you're doing.
Okay.
I must say, they blink and lick and chew and yawn any old time.
Okay, so those are all like releases then?
Yes, but it's in response to what you're doing.
Okay.
So, like, see, he chomped a little bit of grass. Mm-hmm. So when he first came in, he was licking and chewing. And so I don't confuse that with where I put my hand and then he shows some response by licking and chewing. So change in breathing, fidgeting, dropping his head, shaking his body. Those are all releases. Repetitive yawning is one of the most profound releases. And then, they have a third eyelid that you can't see. It's usually just in the corner of their eye. But then when they get really relaxed, they close their third eyelid. So it's just air gap, meaning like right about there.
Okay.
Can you see that?
Yep.
And he's still indicating that he's still blinking. So then I want to encourage him to stay in the neighborhood, and I just tuck my hand in his collar. And I don't ever hold it. It's like I don't brace. I don't ever. I'm very, very loose. And I just want to keep him in the neighborhood. humans, the hardest thing is to stay. Okay. So he drops his head, shows me he relaxes. That's a release. So then I go to the other side.
And you keep track of your breathing.
Yes, I do. So the Tai Chi comes in handy. Oh, you know what? He pooped twice and peed 3 times in that 2-hour session. So I'm counting those as releases.
Yeah, I would too.
Oh, easy, easy. Yeah. Boy. Step up. Do that. So sometimes he just wants reassurance that, so he'll turn his head back to me, and I just reassure him that we're good. Now, the first session I explained a lot of what I was doing because Sharon was eager to know. And I also know, I was talking to you too, Jeannie, in the camera. Now, is that looking to you in response to me? Well, I hope so. It won't hurt. It won't hurt to claim it. So I'm just doing a little shortcut from what I learned from him on the first session. So that's why I'm going right to the pole, in other words.
So where did you start on the first time?
Oh, I do a complete evaluation,
Okay.
which is palpation and seeing where they're ouchy.
Okay.
And mostly it was in the pole, and lumbar and along his back. And I pointed that out to you. See, I'm staying in the area. I'm staying in the area.
Yep.
Even it doesn't matter that he turns his head. So I'll be going into some of the maneuvers.
Mm-hmm.
You got the corner stall, and you get to see all the traffic. He's a quarter horse, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I kind of step back, see what he has to say, if anything. And he's not going to say anything. Not going to say anything more. He's not going to say anything more than he already has, at least for now.
How long have you been here? How long have you been here?
So now this is what I was describing, that
In August.
he's going to massage the pole from the inside. And I was mindful of what you said about his, when he has the bit, he doesn't seem to swallow. He foams a lot, so that means that he's not swallowing.
Yep.
And the safety feature of this is that you stay soft, but not, and you're relaxed, but you don't want to have his tongue grab your thumb back to the molars. Yeah.
Have you had that happen yet?
No, I'm just very safe. Remember Nancy was talking about grabbing the tongue?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another option. So they get to really like this after a while. Yeah, let's see what you have to say, buddy. Oh, I remember you. You did all this weird stuff. Let's get out more in the middle. Come on. Get out more in the middle. Yeah. And I do it both sides. So grabbing the tongue is like grabbing a fish. You have to be pretty skilled. I figure since he tolerates this just fine, and he is essentially massaging his own hole, and that's where a lot of this tension is, that we'll just go with it with this. And again, I'm not jerking, I'm not doing anything, I'm just trying to stay with it. Keep him in the neighborhood. So this is one of the front end maneuvers. So we do the front end, then the back end, and then the midline back.
And do a lot of horses move around as much as he is? Or?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
Oh yeah. And he's not hardly okay. He's not moving. See, it's shaking the head. That's good. Yeah. Good. You're welcome. Shaking the head is a release. No, I mean, he's not hardly moving compared to last time. Oh my gosh.
Really?
Yeah. I had to wind the lead rope through the bars. Loose, it's
Yeah,
loose so
right.
that if he
So
pulls
he's
back,
right.
he can move.
Smell the poo. It's you. It's all about you.
Okay. Okay. It's hard for owners, and it was hard for Sharon just to not have any contact, because I'm so used to. So now what I'm going to do is called lateral cervical flexion, and I'm just, again, very loosely putting my hand here, and start with C1, which is up here. Okay. Feel it right here. And so I'm just bringing his attention to this area with this hand. And what I wanted him to do is actually move back. Back. So you have room. Yep. That's it. Good boy. When he's relaxed, and I just wiggle teensy bit. It's a tiny little movement that will really loosen up and release some of the tension in the connective tissue, in the intervertebral ligaments. And then I move down the cervicals, and the cervicals go like so. So okay if he goes upside down? His head goes upside down.
Okay, so it doesn't, you're not key on keeping the ears even? Or...
No, 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 we're not, it's not horsemanship.
Okay.
So then he's flicking and chewing, so he's releasing some. And I just want to get his attention onto his vertebra, under that little brace. And then, good. Let's see. Last time, he was very reluctant to drop his head on drop the weight of his head on my hands. Even though he did really well with the lateral cervical flexion.
So what is this affecting then? The cervical?
Just show us whether the tension is gone or not.
Oh, he has, in order to bend, he is releasing some tension in the connective tissue between the vertebra and the muscles. But what I wanted him to do, and when I move really little teeny motions in a relaxed state, that'll enhance the release of tension. But it's sort of like peeling an onion. You know, he's got certainly tension in his pole. And what I noticed last time is that he was reluctant to drop the weight of his head.
To just
and
totally
just
relax.
totally relax. So, I mean, we've worked on some, and he's gotten some release, but he has more to release. There's more to go, don't you? Well, I was really relaxed out there, and then Jeannie came by. Yeah, I was doing my own. See, he catches on fast. He catches on to the maneuvers quickly, meaning that, you know, he can feel, sort of like when we go have a massage, and it can be a little ouchy at times, and then when you get that release, oh, does that feel good, you know? So he knows since I start on the left, he knows when I get over here, he kind of knows the score.
Is he kind of
You know?
tighter on that side?
He is. Yeah, he is. I think he's like 9 out of 10 horses. He is right front, left hind tense.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I saw some quivering up there. Yes, I did. Not sure. He's not putting any weight on me. No, you're not, are you? But he is a little bit out here. Not much. I did a draft horse a couple weeks ago.
Nice.
Oh my gosh, it was like 100 pounds she put on my shoulders. Now he's released, I mean I feel more of his weight.
Let
But-
that breath out.
Yeah. And then I step away and let him, if he needs to release, I let him show it. He's pretty, I wouldn't call him a stoic horse, you know. Some horses just don't want to show humans any release at all. In fact, one time, Jim Masterson had a horse like that was pretty stoic, and there was a blanket hung over in the stall, and when she released, she stuck her head under the blanket and yawned and yawned and yawned.
Funny, too funny.
I have no idea what time it is. So, you know, I'm thinking of you, Jeannie, whenever you have to leave, just do so. And I can put him back. Now scapular release is really a neat technique, and it's one of the first few you do for the front end. It releases a lot of endorphins. So what I do is put and what I want him to do, wait, like that. I don't want, it's not about stretching. He's trying to stretch. I want him just to slowly put more weight in my hand. And if you look at his shoulder, his scapula, I want him to release his scapula. Trying to push. And that's not quite what I want you to do, but encourage him. I don't know if you saw there was a little drop in his shoulder.
Yeah, I did.
And you look right here. And he doesn't have his weight on his foot. And I'm just doing a little more wiggles so that he can get those endorphins flowing. As they get, it really helps. There's so many muscles that attach to the scapula here. The ones that go up here, the ones that go all the way down. Oh look, he's relaxing his his left hind. That's really, really interesting and consistent with other horses that you start working up here and their hind starts relaxing. And it makes sense because the fascia incorporates all the muscles. You know what the fascia is. Tissue, thin, connective tissue. So, you know, what you do up here really affects the sacrum. So the pole and the sacrum are connected by muscles and ligaments and fascia. It's really cool, isn't it? But I don't know if you have do you have a signal for him?
Would we just grab mom on that chestnut in there?
See that snort? That's a release. Excuse me. I was right in the middle of your release. How could I have been so blind?
So now, the fact that he's like out of shape and doesn't have a lot of muscle, do you take that into consideration
sure.
when you're asking him to kind of balance on
Oh,
three
sure.
legs?
Oh, yeah. Did you see his other leg was shaking?
Yeah.
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 I'm very well aware of that. And so I switch back and forth, back and forth. So, because that in itself can be sore. And I don't want to create more tension, but
yeah, I just was wondering if that's why he wasn't, if he wasn't wanting to hold it up that long. Because he just doesn't have the muscle.
well, that's part of it, and then part of it too is tension. I mean, it's kind of a,
What kind of a tense dude?
it's an experience. It's an experiment. With each horse, it's different. Yes. Yes, I am going to do this side. Yep. Let's get you a little more out in the open. Not that this is huge. Come on, bud. Come on. That's it. Good boy.
She just doesn't want to be up against the wall.
Funny thing. And see, I don't want him to put his
down, like
his
that.
his foot out. Well, but you can still work with a horse who wants to put it down. You know, that you work with what you've got. And you have to be safe, of course, for the horse and you. So that's why you have him in the middle of the stall for his safety, your safety. And I'm just having my hand here really to encourage him to move these muscles in ways that he hasn't moved them. Just a real gentle way. And sometimes, you know, sometimes I'll move to other maneuvers and come back to this. Because I'd really like to get his leg in the midline. Yep. And when he's kind of dripping, I think, oh boy, the sinuses you can release. And when they start running their nose, that's another release sign.
Okay.
I think he might be doing that. Now, this will be something you can see better on the other side, but I'm going to be on this side for
No, that's
now.
fine.
This is called under the scapula release. And it looks like my hand is getting buried in his neck, which it is. So my hand is firm.
That's the hyoid, right?
Now the hyoid is up here.
Oh, okay.
Right. This is the scapula. And then, well, we're not going to do this walking around it.
I'm just joking, yeah.
So, under the scapula, I'm putting my hand.
Nice release. Love it. And a liquidy though.
It is a little bit. It wasn't like that last week. But
I'm almost ready to have it in now.
actually, this didn't look bad. This looks a little wetter.
I'm almost ready.
And you saw him Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
Clean the muscle last weekend.
Well, get it in there.
So,
But we just brushed it.
I brought water.
Yeah, I know. So you see my hands disappearing. Yeah. So I wait for a blink. And then I'm just moving it down millimeter by millimeter. My hand is going straight to the ground. And my nose hand is really relaxed. It could be more relaxed. And I think what I'm going to need to do is this. Because if he learns how that he could get out of a maneuver, then he won't get benefit.